Joining us here in the studio, psychotherapist Thomas Kirsting, screen left, and host of Ethical Machines podcast, Reid Blackman, join us now. Good morning to both of you.
Hey, how you doing?
So, Reid, you know, you've got that book out, Ethical Machines. What do you think about having a machine essentially diagnose and then prescribe things for depression?
So one of the, it should be said that these things can do some pretty impressive things.
Yeah.
I mean, the knowledge that these things have is the set of medical knowledge that we have. It's a therapist, it's an endocrinologist, it's an oncologist, it's an everything, because it just has all that medical knowledge.
It's everything.
But that makes it also phenomenally difficult to test. So this thing can be used in a variety of contexts, right? Think about the diversity of all the people it can serve. Age, gender, sex, political affiliation, socioeconomic background, other kinds of health factors. So there's so many different contexts in which this can get used, and that makes it very difficult to test for whether it's sufficiently safe.
Sure. You know, Tom, I think the average person would prefer to have a human figure out what's gone haywire with them, but we know now that these machines are actually, in some cases, more accurate than the human eye.
Yes, I think it has its merits, right? So in terms of early diagnosis and so forth, but the treatment component, when they're talking about the treatment component, they're talking about psychopharmacological medication, right? Where they can identify, based on the data, a particular medication that will help the patient. The problem I have is that I believe that we are completely an over-medicated society, and I could see this becoming, the beneficiary being the pharmaceutical companies, right? And research shows that, holistic treatments for depression and anxiety are in many cases more effective than psychopharmacological treatment. Things like exercising, maintaining a healthy diet, maintaining a healthy weight, getting a good night's sleep, and doing talk therapy with an actual therapist.
Sure. Reid, the whole idea, though, that a machine would give you a diagnosis and come up with a treatment plan, you would like to think that a human, your regular doctor, I think we all think of like Dr. Welby or somebody like that, would be looking, let me look back at your study, and back in '78 something happened, and they would have the sweep of your entire life.
Yeah.
But that's what the AI has. They've got all your records, and they're not going to forget something.
Yeah, they can. So look, there's two kinds of use cases to think about. One kind is where you just have the bot as the therapist, right? So it's just a patient-bot relationship.
How would that work? Would you talk to?
Yeah, just like you would talk to. I mean, at some point we'll get to the point where it'll just hear audio, and you'll have a conversation with the large language model, the chatbot, combined with an AI-generated face. So it's going to feel like it's a human. The other thing is that it doesn't only have to be that. It could be cases in which, say, Thomas uses it as a kind of consultant. So maybe before he goes into his next consultation, he says, "Hey, listen, I'm thinking about this. What do you think about that?" And there's other kinds of cases. I've seen cases not in a context of psychopharmacology or therapy, but in other kinds of healthcare where you act. It's a kind of consultant for the doctor to say, "Hey, I'm thinking about this kind of diagnosis. Give me 3 reasons for thinking that's not the right one."
You know, Tom, so many, over the last couple of months, people, and it started with Elon Musk. He said, you know what, this AI is developing so fast, we need to take a 6-month time out to figure out where it should go, take a pause to figure out how to work it. And so I think a lot of people think AI is dangerous. It's not necessarily dangerous if it can do good for people.
Yeah, I mean, if it replaces people, then we have a problem. You can't replace people. You can't replace humans. Even a chatbot therapist, right? So what people don't realize is in therapy, the most important component of the success of the therapy is the actual human-to-human relationship.
So humanity.
Correct.
You can't teach a machine feelings.
You can't.
So there's two issues, though. So one is that some people just don't have access to a therapist, right? They just don't have the resources for it.
Yeah.
And so it could be a good, maybe, I don't know, I think more testing has to be done. It could be a good solution for those people who lack the financial resources to pay a therapist on a weekly basis, right? The other thing is that people form relationships, and I think this is still sort of TBD, but people form relationships with chatbots. I mean, I find it a bit bizarre myself. But in fact, people form relationships with them. There was one chatbot company that actually cut off their chatbot companions, and people were really upset because they had formed emotional attachments to these things. And then when you combine it with what I said earlier, the faces that look like they're speaking, it's going to be that face.
It's too real.
It's going to be the faces that people want to see, right? It's not just going to be some arbitrary face. It's going to be a face that speaks to the preferences of the particular person they're speaking to. They're going to learn to trust them, and they're going to form relationships with these things for better or worse.
Interesting stuff. Let's see what happens. Reid? Tom, thank you very much.
My pleasure.